Hello everyone, I'm Wardy, and boy have I got an amazing series for you all today. This is a YouTube exclusive cast, one I didn't do on stream, and it's of MARU versus SERRAL. Yes, this match actually happened. It was the first match to open up the King of Battles KB International Championship, a $30,000 online event. So this is the very first match of the very first group of this event. We'll be actually covering a few of these matches on the YouTube, I'm sure, as YouTube exclusives. So look forward to all of that. Really looking forward to bringing you guys these games. I think they're going to be fantastic the whole tournament. But of course, to start with this, the most talked about series in a long time, I've got some opinions on this as well, and I'll dive into that. But first of all, let me introduce the players. In the top right-hand side, I mean, they need no introduction, but we may as well do to stick with tradition. The blue Terran player from Jin Air Green Wings is MARU. And he takes on the red Zerg in the bottom left-hand side, SERRAL. Now, a couple of things, okay, very quickly, I've got to say this one, obviously. Let's just get all the nonsense out of the way. Thank you so much for watching this series in advance. If you enjoy it, hit that like button. Maybe leave a comment down below. And if you really like the cast, and I upload a video here every single day, so do consider hitting that subscribe button. All right, nonsense out of the way. You guys are subbed, you liked. I've got a few things to say about this series. So, obviously, this was a very hyped-up matchup in 2018. That was the year SERRAL went on his rampage, won BlizzCon off the back of just not losing a tournament in forever. It was the year MARU was on his streak of 4 consecutive GSL wins, and they just were the two greatest players, and they never really met. They did meet at the start of that year in the WESG finals, but that was kind of before SERRAL went on his complete and utter kind of run of destruction. It was not quite the setup that everyone was expecting. You know, it wasn't like God mode SERRAL, right? So it wasn't the two of them in their final form. MARU won that 3-0. I remember he recovered from like 3 SCVs at one point of the game, of one of the games against Nidus Attack. Went into like a 50-minute game with the Ravens and the anti-armor missile. The Seeker missile was really powerful back then. Mass Raven was a thing. And so, yes, they have played before, but not when they were both at their peak. Apart from a best of 1 in GSL versus the World, which went the way of SERRAL, nobody wanted to see a best of 1. We wanted to see a best of 3. We wanted to see a best of 5, a best of 7, a finals. Something between these two players offline, and it never, ever happened. They dodged each other again in WESG 2019, when they obviously were kind of potentially destined to meet in the finals. MARU lost to Innovation, and time again everyone said it's MARU's fault. SERRAL is consistently making it to the finals. He's waiting for MARU, and MARU doesn't deliver. He gets knocked out of BlizzCon. He gets knocked out of that. So there's obviously a lot of history between the two, and what's really crazy is, like, yes, we finally get this match, but in my eyes, it's a bit of a shame. It's in an online world, right? It's in the group stages. I kind of made a tweet about this, and a lot of people were like, well, it's kind of what this rivalry deserves. You know, it's stupid. It didn't happen at the best time. It deserves to be an online match in a group stage. Well, let's just hope the games are great. That's my preface for this series. I know it's a bit of a long one, but not much happening here super early. You see a 3cc opening out of MARU and Link Speed on the way from SERRAL. Couple creep teamers coming down. MARU trying to contest, but no luck with the Reaper. And I don't think there's going to be anything too aggressive here early. We start up on Pillars of Gold. Pretty reasonable map. ZVT on this one, I do like it for the Zerg. Lots of space to run into these third bases especially. Makes run-bys very effective. Definitely feels like a game where you can run by your way to victory. We'll see what comes out. Of course, interesting, it makes it into map 1 of the best of 3. Potentially SERRAL's map pick, I would say. If it came down to it, I would say this is maybe SERRAL's map pick out of the 3 maps that remain. But obviously, MARU finding other maps to veto. And this is the new ladder map pool as well, so it does feature those new maps. I believe this full series features some of those new maps as well further down the line. And of course, this just being a best of 3, best of 2 wins it. So Stimpack starts up, not really anything too out of the ordinary. SERRAL gets a great little scout in to begin with, though. The Overlord straight through. He just gets to see, okay, well, a couple of Hellions on the way still. Stimpack is starting. Oh, you went for your 3rd CC very early in the game. You know, SERRAL picks up all of this information which he can be very happy with. You know, helps him to piece together this puzzle of what is MARU up to, and the honest answer is just not really that much. A bit of Liberator harassment, a few Hellions to poke around, try and contain that creep, although playing very passively, these Hellions. They do not want to move across the map right now. Really afraid that SERRAL's going to show up with some Zerglings and try and run through there, and he does have some Lings to do that, but they are set defensively as well, and MARU just kind of respecting Serral at the moment. He's saying, I will not take damage to you early, huh? No way. 8 Hellions on the way out on the map. So it is 8, not 6. There's a couple more than what you may usually expect, though 8 is still within that range of being very standard. And the Liberator is going to start forcing the Spore Crawler to relocate, although it takes a lot of damage, so going to be tough to get that Liberator back in play. MARU even just drops a scan to get rid of some of this creep spread. He is going to dive fine to the natural, but the Lings are lying in wait. MARU sees those, and he wants nothing to do with it. He'll back away, and he'll be content to just keep his Hellions alive instead. You don't really want to lose the Hellions, especially if you're not going to get, like, an entire mineral line of drones, because these 8 Hellions are your lifeline. They are everything you're playing with in this early stage of the game. He's actually going to cancel these creep tumors here. That is good map control. You wouldn't be able to do this if these Hellions go down, right? This third base is immediately exposed to a Ling counterattack because you have nothing else to fight if these Hellions go down. So you must keep these alive as MARU, or deal extreme economic damage with them, and that wasn't going to happen with the Lings lying in wait in the natural expansion. There was no way that was going to be a factor. So Baneling speed coming up here from Serral, as we do see the other Hellions continuing down the right-hand side of the map. We've got an Overseer from Serral continuing across to the right as well, and just going to be having the Hellions going to start picking away at a couple of these creep tumors. I really like it. You know, it's a lot of scans that MARU is using, but it really does take away some of this map control of Serral. And TvZ, if you let the Zerg get set up into all of that map control, it becomes so difficult to fight against. So just trying to slow it down early. There's so many avenues to try and slow down. You're not going to keep it back forever, but every bit that helps now, it just means it's further back for when your Marine job shows up, and then they push it a bit further back than they would have done otherwise. And it's a knock-on effect. So MARU really, prioritizing getting rid of this creep spread early, and now it looks as though he might just leave the Hellions back in defense on the third base, while the 2 medevacs go across the map. It just means he's got a run-by defense set up, basically. As we do see a Depot Warlock getting going. I like this little cheeky changeling that was around. It's just being killed by an SCV in the third. I believe Serral also saw these medevacs moving to the left, though, so he should not be caught off guard by these in the slightest. And really just moving into melee upgrades and Aspire. So Lingbane Muta going to be taking on a good old bit of bio. You know, I like it. You know, if I want to see MARU versus Serral, this is what I want to see. I want to see them playing a macro game. I don't want to see anyone dying early. You know, losing a ridiculous amount of stuff. Yeah, this Liberator went down, a few Lings went down, but nothing too crazy. You know, nothing that's going to change this game. Nothing that's going to end the game or give one player a huge advantage over the other. I like this. The Hellions stay hidden until the Lings show themselves and the Lings come off creep, and it gives the Hellions a chance to say, oh, look at us, we can get some free shots off. Whereas otherwise, if you already know the Hellions are there, you might just not push into that position. So I think MARU is trying to bait a little bit there. Also doesn't want to show the Hellions too early to give Serral that run-by attempt as well. I like it so far. I think they're both playing a good game. This is what I want to see. Nice big macro game, and so far we're really heading in that direction as 1-1 upgrades are done on either side. 2-2 should be on the way soon. Serral currently prioritizing some Mutalisks and Mutalisk upgrades, but 2-2 has got to be on the agenda here. There's no reason to cut at 1-1. He's not set up to do some kind of crazy 1-1 Lingbane Muta all in. So yeah, this continues on. Serral takes a 5th base, and MARU coming forward here at the moment. A couple of Queens taking some hits now. Some Lings from the backside that may come in for the flank right now. The Hellions are going to try and show up as well. They are going to kind of run into the Lings. The Lings just moved in time, and the Hellions are going to show up a little bit late to the party. And with the Mutas coming in, it's time to just back the heck out of there. The Widowmines did what they could, slowing down some of the Baneling numbers. And now he's going to be able to stand atop this high ground. And with the Widowmine shot to help out, it looks as though MARU will be good to turn that around, turn it back away. And that will be that for the moment. Serral goes back down to the bottom left side of the map. 3 racks set up across this third base. Going to be seeing a row of tech labs already setting up here, as we do have our Thor in production in the main base. A lot of units from MARU coming out the front here. We're going to see the command center going to go to the 12 o'clock in just a few moments. A lot of Mutalisks joining up together. The couple of medevacs into the main. And he's just sending some Marines here. He's really respecting the Mutas, expecting them to start harassing. And I actually like what Serral does with these Mutas to begin with. This is a nice little place to hit because it opens a run-by lane. You know, it opens this third base to a Ling run-by. It's something you have to respond to as MARU. But it doesn't put the Mutalisks, you know, out of reach. It doesn't put them somewhere where you can't rescue them. It lets the Mutas stay around in a very comfortable position. There's a lot of Lings out on that right-hand side of the map. A few Hellbats sitting up to the top 12 o'clock base. And this Lingbane army of Serral just hanging around to the 9 o'clock. I mean, he has got 5 bases up and running, Serral. Got to remember that. 93 drones in play here at the 9.5-minute marker. An infestation pit on the way up as he looks to go further. He will not get that sensor tower. Nice save from MARU. That's 100 gas. You wouldn't like to rebuild, especially when it's just finished up. But I do like the sensor tower. It's a big target for the mutas, but it tells you where those mutas are going to come in from. It gives you a very good idea of what you need to do to defend on this third base. I mean, I really like that, as Maru will start to make his way onto creep. I would say overall a pretty passive game from Maru. Now, obviously 2-2's about to hit. We'll see what he does off 2-2, but he's already on 4 bases, taking base number 5. It doesn't seem like a game where Maru's really looking to hit a 2-base, 2-2 timing, anything like that. Not in the slightest. Now he's going to kind of get caught as he's moving out. And Maru's like quietly gone up to being maxed out, We've never seen the whole Terran army collected together, but, because the Hellbat Hellions were over here and the Marauders were kept back over there, the couple Thors have just joined in. Now all of this supply is becoming apparent, and you're starting to realize, oh my goodness, like he's actually maxed out. He's got an army. He's traded, well so far in the game. Hasn't really lost that much. He's traded out a few Widow Mines for Lings, and that's about all. As the Banes do crash through those depots, and they do find 6 SCVs on the right-hand side. Now, the mutas are going to have to turn away from this fight. They're going to see what else they can do, though. I mean, these are little hits that Serral's obviously putting out to Maru. Maru is not really responding with any damage of his own. He's not going out to drop just yet. He's not looking to make his way across the map until maybe now he's going to start making that bid. But it does feel like he has to do a little bit of something. Otherwise, you're not really playing otherwise you're just letting the Zerg take the map, and we talk day in and day out in Z Zerg matchups about how you can't just let that happen. I like what Maru's left behind here, though. This Ling Bane run by is going to run into a lot of Marauders. Oh, the Marines weren't quite split there, and the Marauders even taking a fair amount of splash. Oh, even gets into the mineral line. Not many SCV kills, at least. The Muta's obviously moving around between the main and the natural during all of this, and it's still just Serral all over the map as he flies into the main. He is not going to get that Widow Mine, then he does, because the Overseer is still here, so this is really nice harassment. You pick off a reactor, you're slowing down the production structures. I mean, Maru is about to get 3-3. The one thing I'll say for Maru is that he's going up to 5 bases. He's not being afraid to just expand. And I wonder if, in a way, Maru's plan... I feel like Maru's plan may already just have to be, actually, that he's just going to try and let Serral overextend into him a lot. Because he's not been making plays across the map to be like, oh yeah, let's fight, let's trade, let's do this and that, let's deny your economy. He's almost saying, I'll slowly take my bases, and if you fight into me and take bad fights, I can make that work. I could just slowly trade more efficiently and get into a better and better spot. 3-3 melee upgrades on the way from Serral as he hit that Hive tech. The other things from Hive, well, no Adrenal Glands in production yet, no Ultralisk Cavern either. Those are the things we should be looking out for here as Serral goes sniping down Widow Mine after Widow Mine. Thor shot is good right into the Mutalisk here. The couple Marauders in the front will tank a few of those Baneling shots. The Thor will move back through the top side as well. And a lot of Zerglings in production. I mean, Serral is just not moving away from being maxed out. He's got a bank on his side. There's that Ultra Cavern again. It's just expected. It makes no sense not to go into it. It's going to be seen our Banes continue to roll on through. What can they reach? A couple Marauders, some of the Marines. Marines taking down the Overseers, and now the rest of this army standing here. He gets a kill on this base, which is nice, slowing down one of the bases of Serral. The thing is, you've got to think at this stage of the game, Serral has every base, apart from this one that just got denied. That's every base he would take on this map, unless he starts to take the Terran bases as well. Now, Maru right now, he's just saying, okay, 5 bases is enough for me. Let's defend this right-hand side. You don't want to take the top left yet as Maru because it draws you out too thinly. It lets the Zerg go for Ling Bane attacks. It lets them deny bases. So Maru's going to hard commit to defending the right side base. Yeah, you've got to worry about this 4th base as well, but that's a bit further away than like this base here and here. So you get a bit more time. If Serral does commit in like he does right now, it means that Maru's probably going to trade out for a base in the bottom right. So he's okay with that. That's less likely to happen if this base over here is taken down. He's maybe not even able to get enough space for himself to the bottom right. So he should get a base here. So that's going to be okay. I mean, I'm trying to stay positive, but I really don't like it for Maru. I'm looking at what's the resources lost like. The resources lost is good. But now he's just been knocked down to 4 bases. He's moving his main base orbital to the top. I mean, that means Ling run-bys are just invited in for dinner, Why not? Hey, come along, come have some food. It's SCVs on the menu today. Because there's no planetary forest, there's no defense, there's no stack defense there. So very little commitment from Serral can do so much in that 12 o'clock base now. That's why I worry for Maru. I don't mind him being on 4 bases and trading like this. But if he's not going to get a 5th base up, that's where the problem's going to be. Lings are going to wrap in with the Mutas from the top side. The Mutas have taken a beating, by the way. The Mutas are going down real low, dropping lower and lower. They are in the red and the orange health bars. Some of the Lings up to the top side are going to run in. A few SCVs going down. Marines and Marauders showing up. to keep those Lings pushed out to the left-hand side as Bio Army comes onto the creep spread. We'll take a hatchery down in the bottom right-hand side. So the hatchery falls. The Lings may be thinking about moving into this also. We do have Widow Mines, which we will see MARU falling back to. Widow Mine shot is good. Lings and Banes continuing to go down. These Lings run straight into this mineral line. A few SCVs dropping, and, well, no, not really right, actually. The SCV count didn't go down. I like what Serral is doing with the burrow and so on. These meters are going to fall. I mean, it feels like he's not really cared so much about his meters. Like, he's not really babysat them. He's been a bit reckless with them. He also never had, like, 20-ish meters on the map all at once, right? So he's never had that ridiculous meter count. I can't believe this orbital command. I mean, even now, 2 Lings are going to do well, but I can't believe... I feel like this orbital command in my head was going to be denied by now. It's still up. Maybe this attack now will carry through and take that base down with it. But now Maru's going to strike the bottom right again. This time Serral is prepared. Lingbane Ultra in position to fight the bottom side. Let's see what Maru can do as he splits backward here. Lets the Banes and the Ultras run on into him. A couple of meters going down. On the other side, these Lings are being chased as well. Again, I think it's really important to keep an eye on this resources lost. 11,000 difference is a huge, huge number. To me, an 11,000 difference, if you can sit on 5 bases as Maru, that's huge. I mean, he is denying the 7th base of his opponent, so Serral's basically 1 mining base up in this bottom right-hand side. He doesn't have this base yet. He does take the top left, which is concerning. That's something Maru should stop from happening. I kind of want to say that I think it's okay, because an 11,000 resource loss difference is like... that makes up for Serral being up 1 base of mining. Maru's on 140 army supply against 104 with Serral being maxed out. He just has more drones, and that's part of the thing as well. In theory, Maru should just take better fights because of that army supply advantage. That's great. Just kills 2 Ultras on the left side. That ain't going to help Serral's efficiency counter, but this is. You crash in here, and this may not end up being efficient, but it denies economy, and it makes these less efficient trades a little bit better for you, because now you can get away with them a little bit more frequently. Maru isn't mining from this base. Great. If he's not mining from this base, you know, your lack of efficiency doesn't matter because you are now making advantage of your extra income. That's really going to be coming into play, and you can see it's been, you know, this base going down. You're going to see a big jump up from Serral in his favor. Do you think Maru wants to... oh, he will deny this top left-hand side now. He sees it. He knows about it. But what is he going to do about the bottom right? A lot of the time, he's been hitting this bottom right-hand side, stopping that base number 7 from coming up. This time, it doesn't seem like he's really going to have an attack to do that. I love this. Again, just a handful of Lings. That's all it takes to disrupt mining on an orbital command that is far away from a lot of the units a lot of the time, depending on where they're at any specific time. I mean, Maru's already pulling this command center back. He just says, I cannot put this onto a base location. I can't take this in the top left. It isn't going to do anything for me. I love the burrow as well, just forcing extra scans all the time. This base was replaced by an orbital as well. I mean, why is there so many orbitals? He's actually rebuilding the orbital or the command center in the main. I wonder if he's just going to add on another orbital with that. I mean, I'd imagine so. These Lings and burrow to deal some damage. Maru's moving the left-hand side, though. You've not really seen him adventure this far across the map on the left, really. And I gotta say, the creep spread's actually... it's in the middle of the map, but it's not encroaching on Maru's side, so credit there. As Maru has the ghosts up as well. Snipes down the first Ultra Liz. Oh, needs to protect those ghosts from the Banes. They can tank a few Bane shots, but obviously you don't want to let all the ghosts be stacked up as they take those Baneling shots. That's a lot of ghosts overall. This... I mean, it hasn't really snuck up on us, but... the late game's really just appeared as 23 SCVs going down. This is bad for Maru, losing a lot of economy. It kind of has snuck up on me, actually, the late game units being out and so on. Is because it's been such an active game. There's been stuff going on left, right, and everywhere on this map so far that you didn't really realize suddenly Maru's been building all of these ghosts in production. I mean, that's what's so impressive. The fact that these two are just fighting all over the map, and Maru is still macroing behind him, making the tech switches, realizing what he needs. This is the issue. 41 SCVs to 84 drones. Serral, in theory, doesn't matter how bad he's trading, and 15,000 resources lost is pretty darn bad. Do not get me wrong. Okay, I mean, that's a lot, but Maru has, like, basically no income of his own, so surely Serral can outmine him. This is still going to be a duel over the corner bases. If Maru can maybe, in the end, establish top left, he can probably still win this out, even on a low drone count. He just has to stay alive to do it, and right now, this kind of fight goes okay for him. The Ultras get sniped down. The Corruptors get pushed back without really achieving much. There's not really many Banes left. Maru kind of thinks about continuing in the bottom right-hand side. In the end, he backs off. Serral peels away another group of Lings. In the end, Maru, you can see he's just done with dealing with this base and the problems it holds, as The Widow Mine doesn't get a huge hit. He just puts a planetary fortress next to it. He's like, I'm done with you sending links here. Gets the 7th base again. That is massive. Really keeping this, especially if he gets this one up and mining kind of denies this one. That's not mining yet. He could potentially even out the base count here. And again, that's Serral's worst nightmare. Serral's game plan revolves around denying the economy. And right now, MARU is taking steps forward in the economy. So we are going in the wrong direction for Serral. I don't... in my head, I'm still like, do I really believe in this for MARU? But like, I look at the supplies and yeah, I kind of do. His army supply is still good. We've seen his army can absolutely fight what Serral's got. You can see Serral even investing in something different now. Investors. You know, the idea here being he needs some more efficient trades. He needs something that will help lock down this bio army. Help him trade that a little bit better. Maybe even cancel a few ghost snipes. And those trades can maybe make the difference in him denying another base and maybe giving him another attempt at shutting down the economy and keeping this at a winnable point. Because I do feel that the idea of this being winnable is starting to slip away just a little bit for me. Ghosts and bio units moving down the right-hand side. The Overlord still hanging out to the top. The Marines coming through. A few creep tumors are down. The mines are already burrowed as MARU pushes down the right side. The Infestors are burrowed up, but they don't have the energy for fungal growth just yet. In a couple of seconds, they will. MARU's got a good free split going on. He is mining the top left comfortably. And I think he might... I mean, this fight can decide if he can deny the bottom right again. If he can deny the bottom right, then this can work well for him. Beautiful fungal hits a lot of the ghosts. They can't snipe while in fungal because they're taking consistent damage. And damage will cancel the snipes. They get the snipes off before the fungals come up. The Infestors go down too. It's an expensive loss for Serral. He's going to run up this ramp. Snipes go down. The Ultras will fall. The Widow Mines blow up on a bit of everything. The Ghosts in the front now going down. MARU's trying to split up. The Corruptors have gotten rid of medevac after medevac. He runs back, but it's only a planetary fortress here. He lets the Widow Mine deal some damage. It gets a huge shot. And now he's going to chase Serral back. Where are we at? Resources lost 20,000 difference. I know I'm using this as a real crutch in this cast, but it is really, you know, you can just look at this and it tells you how this game is going. You know, it's time after time. Serral is just losing more and more units. It's costing him more to stay in this game. And you look at that income graph. Look at this big change that top left base has made for MARU while continuing to put pressure on the bottom right. It's a real minimal amount of income difference. MARU's also gone back up to 65 SCVs. Serral's worker count has dropped down a bit. And these are all things which start pushing this game more and more so in favor of MARU. Serral's got some money to spend, but I mean, even if he spends it, he doesn't have the gas to really spend it on. MARU currently leads in supply. That increased worker count, plus the fact he's got these bases to put the workers on, plus the fact he's then turning that into, money to actually spend into units. It's working for him here. As Ling Bane Ultra goes to the right side, the Orbital Command lifts off, evacuates away, does not want to be here any longer. A few Lings will start to go in. The Marauders cover the front. They get rid of the Zerglings that trail into this. And Serral will go no further. He's happy with the liftoff on this Orbital Command. Thing is, now MARU is essentially saying, okay, I'm going to give up this base more easily, but I'm taking 2 full bases in the top left-hand side. Yeah, you kind of want to keep mine from here as well, but we're also only 30 minerals, 90, 115 away from this being a half base. So you're giving up a half base to say, cool, I've got 2 full bases. Don't overextend defending this when I've got the top left I can rely on now. This base isn't as much of a, it isn't as much of a necessity any longer for MARU. He doesn't want to lose the game over protecting it. Here we go. Ling's going to run in. I tell you what, it's just not been a scary amount of Banelings in these fights for Serral. For quite some time now, the Lings are going to run around the left-hand side. They can't find any action because these bases are all set up as planetaries, so they need Banelings to really help those pushes. This base here is maybe the best option. Maybe shut off some reinforcements. That's probably the best you can do. Here we go, an army from the right-hand side. Serral might be looking to take a fight here. MARU's going to be forced into a fight. He's not really ready for it. He's a bit all over the place. He does find some snipes onto Ultralisks. But the Banelings, I mean, this group of bio was just so clumped up. The Bane's able to crash into it. MARU has to back away. The Lings are going to get into the main. Marines and Marauders in trouble. The reinforcements going to be shut down for a little while. The Marauders continue to stim on the way up. In the middle of the map, what's this going on? Just a couple Widow Mines that are firing. And also some Changelings on the other blue dots. Well, he deals with this in the main base, even gets the scan. I mean, this burrow play has been non-stop from Serral all game long. And it feels as though MARU is really starting to cotton onto that, realizing, hang on a second, you keep doing that, I'm not going to let you extend the effectiveness of your units that much more any longer. Serral's going to come to the left-hand side. He's still looking to fight. The resource loss difference, 18k still. But still, Serral that needs to do something. I think he needs to deny a base because he's not going to suddenly trade 20,000 resources better off. So he cannot let MARU mine out his side of the map, because then MARU will have mined the same amount as Serral, and obviously Serral will have just will have just traded way worse throughout. I mean, these Widow lines, they're brutal. I mean, that's a horrible way to start this fight. Serral just GG's out. That was very unfortunate. Let's have a quick rewind here just to show you guys exactly what happened. So Serral drops like 20 to 30 supply, I think, to these Widow mines on this ramp. And it basically just, literally, I go like 2 seconds before, or a second after where I want to be. Let's have a quick look. So these Widow mines here, they're sitting on 0, 0, 0 kills. I think these guys get some big damage done. You look at the resource loss bottom right. It's 60.2k. Serral's at 180 supply. He runs up here. This first Widow mine. We don't get to see how many kills, but Serral drops a good little chunk of supply. He loses about 1,000 resources. Second Widow mine picks up 19 kills. These Widow mines just take so much of the beef out of Serral's army. And he loses 2,000 resources before the fight happens to 3 Widow mines. And then he runs into a fight that he was barely going to win in the first place. And now it's obviously very one-sided. There's just so much bio down and ramp. You're pushing in from one direction. You don't have the baneling count any longer. MARU ends up taking game number 1 against Serral. And hey, Serral MARU, it delivered. I know it's only game 1. It's already delivered in my eyes, guys. I'm happy. I'm done. Cool. GG's, man. What an actual sick game, though. This is really, really sick. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, game number 2 will be kicking off. I say quick break, I mean, I'm going to flick the screens for you guys. It'll be a couple of seconds. Let's hop into a game number 2. Hopping straight on into game number 2. In the top right-hand side, we've got our blue Terran player up 1-0 in this series. It is MARU. Taking on in the bottom left, our red Zerg, it's Serral. Game 2 of the best of 3. And let's see what comes out of this one. Again, if you don't know what this tournament is, based on when I'm planning to upload this, there's still this tournament ongoing. I believe at the day of uploading this event, they've only played 2 of the round of 16 groups, so there's at least 4 days of broadcast still going on. It's an Alpha X tournament. We cast their stuff on the channel all the time from replays and so on. And this is their big $30,000 event. So huge tournament, some great players. Obviously, I mean, MARU and Serral are the headliners, but yeah, it's obviously a great event and definitely worth checking out. It's called the King of Battles if you want to find out more, or if you search Alpha X, I'm sure you'll find out more about it as well. And obviously, shout out to those guys. They actually did release these replays ahead of time. So I actually usually purchase the replay packs, and I did the same for this event, but obviously the event's not over yet. But they released these replays on Twitter, so if you want to check out these replays, if you want to dive in-game with MARU and Serral and watch kind of how I'm watching, you know, I can move the camera around, you can, you know, finally you can shut up, complain about me observing and be casting and having to press the mute button. You can get the replays. It's on the Alpha X Twitter. I'm sure you'll be able to find it again. It's not too hard. It's just a Google away. Serral bottom left, of course, from NC Sports as we go into game number 2. Jag and Natha, I think I want to talk about a little bit as well. Because this is obviously one of the new maps. This is a map where I feel like we could get a bit of a repeat from game number 1 in terms of how it plays out. Not necessarily saying that MARU is going to win it out. I think MARU is extremely brave to just sort of do nothing against Serral and just trade better over so long. That seems terrifying to me. It's a terrifying strategy, but I kind of, you know, I see this map being a map where you can go late because the 4 bases of the Zerg, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're all on the bottom of the map. So where do you push into as the Terran player? Well, it's difficult because the Zerg never expands towards you until their 5th base. So you don't have any good pushes to make in the mid game, really. You know? Not like most maps where the 3rd is a bit of a, you know, step closer to the Terran player, then the 4th is a bit of a step closer again. This map, everything's on the bottom of the map. The best you can do as a Terran is maybe 3rd base here, and even then, like 4th base here, questionably. So yeah, I'm not sure 100% about, I mean, I'm not sure about 100% about ending this game early. To me, this feels like if it goes to the mid game in an even kind of position, I don't think MARU can really end this game or close it out at all. As he actually gets himself a circling kill there. I think MARU would have to play for a later stages sort of scenario once again. So maybe we'll keep our eyes on that and just keep it in mind. Again, it's one of the new maps. It does have these acceleration zones on. Nice large acceleration zones in interesting places on the map, helping you rotate around the map. I'm really interested to see how these come into play in some of the fights, because I'd be surprised if not a single fight took place around those acceleration zones for sure. Alright, well, game number 2, and I think at this point we're all cheering on Serral, right? We want to see a game 3 of this, especially if they're going to look, you know, even half as good as game number 1. As MARU is, once again, just 3cc off 1 gas, so he's very happy with how that's set up. We'll see if he just wants to go 8 Hellions again. You know, 6 or 8. It just depends how much pressure you want to put on. He is tech labbing up that barracks. Last game he went Liberator and the Stim Pack pretty early on. Right now, he doesn't really have the gas to do much, obviously, because he's rocking a 3cc, the 1 gas. It wasn't a double gas opener. He's going to put the starport on the tech lab. This just could be a safety Banshee. 1 Banshee right now without Cloak. He could add Cloak on if he wants to play Hellion Banshee. I mean, if you're going to make more than 1 Banshee, Cloak is pretty much... You may as well get Cloak, right? It's just so good. You can definitely get value out of it when you're as good as MARU. You just don't need to go Cloak here, because 1 Banshee can just be a defensive Banshee. Stay safe against some potential aggression as you take a fast 3cc. He's going to start Cloak up as this Overlord moves in. And we'll see if he actually is going to keep the Cloak, because now... Even more so, you could just make this 1 Banshee cancel Cloak and, you know, just 1 Banshee to harass a little bit, keep you pretty safe, because Serral's already scouted the Cloak. He'll already prepare Spore Crawlers forward. In fact, he's gone for a fast lair, so he's going to have early Overseers, so he's even going to have mobile detection to help out. Okay, MARU's committed. He's going to go for a 2nd Banshee. So canceling Cloak is off the menu. I think we already kind of knew that when he didn't do it straight away. And he's going to put his hopes on 2 Banshees to get some damage done early. What's really fun is that he didn't build that many Hellions. He's only built 3 Hellions here, so he's gone straight into extra barracks really quickly. So the bio follow-up here from MARU is extremely quick, and that's got to be something we've got to keep our eyes on in the next few minutes of this now. As you see a Reaper and 2 Hellions down the right side, going to grab a Creep Team already. It's going to be seeing a whole bunch of SCVs coming out, Banshee, Hellions, all of this looking good so far. A few Queens making their way around as our Spire drops in from Serral on the natural expansion as well. So he's just gone, obviously, faster lair. He's going to go into the fast Spire. It's funny because actually this Cloak Banshees came a big time back into the meta, right? And one of the responses was this kind of faster lair. And not even just as a response, but it's just good, right? You get the lair up, and it has the Overseer, so you have mobile detection against these Banshees. You get the Spire up, so the Banshees are really on a timer in terms of how long they can be on the map and doing stuff for. Right? Like, to me, this was like one of the reasons Cloak Banshees fell back out of popularity. Now, the fast lair build has been zoned out or phased out a little bit again. It's not never seen. I mean, Serral used it right now this time. But it's not being used every game like it kind of was a couple of months ago. Banshee comes in and gets 3 kills off the start. I mean, this is the thing with Cloak Banshees. You're still going to find damage somewhere. Serral lets his drones go back to mining, and MARU says, yes, please, and thank you. 6 drones. I'll take that. This Queen in the mineral line going to take a lot of shots. Isn't going to go down just yet. Comes back in. It means he can actually get... Oh, don't tell me. He gets 9 Banshee. I think this Banshee's going to go down. 2 Queens on the top side were just in range. So 1 Banshee gets out alive. Very low HP. I think 9 drones is okay, though. You know, you get 9 drones at the start. It slows Serral down. You know, it definitely means he has to build those 9 extra workers. And now you've already got this push coming because you didn't overcommit on Hellions or anything. You've got this big bio force already coming across the map. And especially into someone who's building Mutalisks. Yeah, he's got a Baneling Nest down. He has got Baneling speed, but he wants to put a lot of money into Mutas. And even just forcing a handful of Banelings right now can slow down that Mutalisk count. The one big repercussion of what's happened so far is there has not been any creep spread denial because of the lack of Hellions. So the creep spread is already coming up to halfway on the map. This is a larger map than Pillars of Gold. And Pillars of Gold, halfway across the map was basically as far as it got. He's basically already 2 or 3 creep tumors deeper onto the map than he ever was on Pillars of Gold. So the difference that those Hellions make last game, I think it's a really cool comparison to look at it this time around. Is, man, this attack just got cleaned the heck up. MARU, I don't know what he was really hoping for over here, but it gets cleaned up. The Mutas will even find the Medivacs, of course, which is fantastic news. So those Medivacs will get cleaned out as the 1-1 upgrades from MARU on the back of the natural. I'm just going to be seeing Carapace, melee, +1 flyer attack, 11 more drones in production, the 4 Mutas coming through. Just going to be seeing Serral continuing to the upper right-hand side. Going to go for a couple of SCVs. Well, this Mutalisk harassment is good so far. This changeling, I keep clicking over here because I see a blue dot on the minimap. I'm like, and then I see the bottom, like, it's a Widow Mine. It's just a changeling. I've clicked over there like 2 or 3 times now. You might have noticed. And every time, like, in my head, I'm like, God damn it. And this time I'm just going to share it with you because I feel like at this point, people are like, what are you doing, Wardy? Stop going over there. There's nothing there. Muta's trying to push forward, but the Marines are there to hold. As the creep gets scanned, we'll see a few creep teamers being picked away at already. The Lings going to start running through. The Medevac's going to lift up. Drilling Claw's about to finish up on this factory. And the Thor already on the way out. The Mutas of Serral will go around to the right-hand side. Marines, Widow Mines, Hellbats. Everything looking good over here as the Mutas looks like they want to fly in, and they will get one Widow Mine right from the start. The supply depot gets taken down. MARU gets supply blocks. The Mutas did well last game, and I gotta say that Serral didn't play like a ridiculous Muta count. Like, he only ever made 19 total in the game, which, yeah, that's a big investment into Mutas, but I do feel like he lost a couple at the start, so he never really got to like 20 Mutalisks just on the map at any point in time. That's going to be the case right now. He's on 19 Mutalisks. It looks like he may be done with Muta production. We already see that Infestation Pit. He's got to look toward a 4-2-2 in the near future. As MARU +2 attack gets started. So getting that underway, these Mutas are going to come through. That combat shield is also really late. I actually think MARU, based on the timing of all of this, I actually think he forgot his 1-1 upgrades, and I've not quite noticed that. I feel like he was maybe meant to get 1-1 going much earlier in this game. There's no way at 9.5 minutes he should be starting +2 armor. Combat shield should be finishing with the build that he did. So I'm pretty sure his 1-1 upgrades have been delayed here for whatever reason. I don't think his engineering bays were late, so I think he's just forgotten to start them. Maybe if I remember, we'll go back and have a look at that at the end of the game. If that's in 5 minutes, then maybe I'll remember. If it's in 15, then maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, keep that in mind, because the thing is, the Zerg shouldn't be equal on upgrades with this build order. You know, especially when the Terran goes bio early and skips a few Hellions. Like, there's no way that the Zerg should be on 2-2 at the same time as the Terran, more or less, because the Zerg doesn't go upgrades early in this opening, because he's playing a lair style, because he's going fast spire. You play Baneling speed, so you give up the upgrades for quite a while. It's not uncommon for the Zerg to be an entire set of upgrades behind the Terran with a style like this, or with this opening. And obviously here we are tied up, so it feels like an unforced error on MARU's side. Bit of Lingbane of Serral is sat over the far left. I've coming up on the main, and just seen a few Marines going to stem across and find a couple of changelings. We'll take those down as the Hive going to be done soon. So Serral's really gotten up to Hive tech, no issues at all. The creep spread on the map is looking absolutely fantastic. I mean, the worst this has been for Serral is when he lost the 9 drones, right? Like, he lost 9 drones, and that was basically it. Like, that's been the like the only real downside to that Banshee. Otherwise, I love how he's been trading. Look at the resources lost. He's actually leading this time. We'll see if he can keep that up in some of the larger fights. But as I look at this, he's got MARU pinned on 4 bases. MARU's accepting this is going to be a long game. He's building multiple command centers. He's going to try and play the exact same way he played the last time. Yeah, I even think... Yeah, I mean, I sort of, again, come back to what I said at the start of the map. What do we really do here as the Terran play? You can't push this 4th base. It's covered, you know, like screens deep in creep. So you can't really make that happen. Lings and Bane's going to run up this ramp. A few Marines from the backside will look to defend. Lingbane running through. I mean, this isn't bad for MARU, I don't think. The Banes are really forcing the issue. But now he's going to hit the mineral line. And, I mean, you might get the planetary, and that's replaceable very quickly. The SCVs are maybe the more important part of this. And he is going to start finding a few of these SCVs over the left-hand side. 8 workers go down. Okay, this could have been worse. This could have been like 15 to 20. 74 SCVs still on the map is fine for MARU. He's got command centers to replace those SCVs with. He's got spare command centers too, so you can keep on mining here. He's setting up the right side. Man, I gotta say as well, though, it's gonna play similarly to Pillars of Gold. He's got to kind of let this base defend itself. He's got to really defend this right side base. And then much later in the game, he's got to make a bid for this base and this base. It's actually funny that we're seeing kind of the same scenario play out in different ways. 2 games in a row now as Bane's wanting to show up, not quite connecting in. A few of these Marauders taking some shots, and a couple of Widow Mines went off, but apparently not on too much. I don't have too many kills on them. Serral's been very good, though. This time he's really hitting the right side and hitting the left at the same time, and really making it difficult for MARU to keep this eco up. That's a planetary denied again. Yeah, last time you had a command center right next to it to replace it with. This time he's going to get the right side base at the same time. The Bane's back away. Resources lost is starting to favor MARU that little bit. 2,000 difference, but 2,000 difference when you've kept MARU now basically on 3 bases. And you're obviously going up to 5, 6 bases yourself, only missing base 7. You know, this time Serral's hitting the economy and he's hitting it much better than he did last game. And I think that's the big difference, that he's actually really hitting the eco a bit more, a little earlier. And I like that. I think that's the way Serral's going to open up a big difference in this game. And even on top of that, he is also just trading better too. You know, this is, you know, instead of 4k resource loss difference, it's 1.5k resource loss difference. So, a lot of things going right so far. For Serral this time around for the second map. Down 1 in the best of 3 series, leading in with that single Zergling, trying to split away from those Widowmine shots whenever they show up. And a few Banes on the right side, gonna find themselves on top of Widowmines. I mean, actually, that's not even so bad. To kill off a couple of the Widowmines for those Banes there. Obviously, you want to hit the mineral line, but and it removes a bit of the defense. Love this. The one Ling gonna trail forward and just force that Widowmine to fire early. Serral, if you watch his Lings, you gotta watch them closely because it happens so quickly, but he's always, every single time, so good. He's really watching for where that Widowmine is, what it's targeting. He's so good at pulling it away to minimize damage taken as he runs in over here, just gonna, again, brute force his way in, or at least try to. I mean, defensively, these 4 bases are great, but this is also MARU only holding on 4 bases. The 5th base isn't up. And we're already talking about a 3rd base that's running out of minerals. Obviously, that means the natural and the main are in similar scenarios. So MARU is already oversaturated with 73 workers, while Serral is up 15 workers and does not face an oversaturation issue. And that's where this income lead is coming from. That's why Serral is going to be mining so much more here. MARU's done a great job of, again, just sneaking up to that ghost count, mind you. He's got a lot of those ghosts coming in. As Adrenal Glands finishes up, we're going to see our Banelings continue to roll forward into this. Going to go in after this army, and I mean, this is a big trade. He's really wanting to try and reach the ghost. At the same time, he has got units hitting the mineral line. SCVs have fallen, 12 of them at least. Didn't get that big connection on the ghost, but I feel like he gets a lot of what else he was looking for. Yeah, I just mentioned Adrenal Glands. You know, I get the feeling, I mentioned MARU's missing 1-1 earlier here. I actually feel like back in game 1, Serral might never have gotten Adrenal, because I can't think of when Adrenal finished in that last game. We talked about like 3-3 and the Ultra Cavern being late, and like the Hive Tech was like slow to come online. I feel like he might not have even had Adrenal. Maybe I'm just making stuff up, but I just got a feeling. Well, I do feel like Serral's really hitting his stride this game, though. Everything's coming up. He's got everything he really needs. As the game maybe settles down for half a minute, it's only because MARU's morphing in Banes, getting Ultras ready, and the next waves of these attacks are going to be so dangerous for MARU. As guess what? 5th base not allowed yet again. Again, I'm just not really surprised. This base is difficult to take. Serral's playing a good job on both sides of the map and really forcing MARU to look both ways, and it's extremely difficult to do. It's extremely tough to make work, as this command center will land down. Everything else from Serral hanging about, and a couple of Widowmines coming up. 11 more Banes in production. Here we go. Around this right-hand side, a couple of Widowmines coming through, and we're just going to be running straight into this. Mutas overhead. The Banes are going to come crashing in. The Marauders, I mean, from both sides, it's just disgusting. Now the Ghosts on the top side are definitely what we want to look at, because they are in trouble. They're going to keep on running. Going to get the support of the Widowmines. They kind of do, but just a bit too late. Every Ghost bar one will go down. I mean, the fight continued out over here, but that is expensive. Serral, okay, 7,000 resources lost, worse off. But again, this time he owns every base on the map. He's not being denied. MARU is only defending. He's not turning any of this into attacks of his own. You know, again, I feel like I keep throwing it back to game 1, but game 1, he'd defend the top side, and he'd use that as a chance to hit the right side. But he's not getting those chances. Where is he? He's been on his own bases. He doesn't know what the rest of the map even looks like. What's MARU's vision? MARU hasn't seen the base here, or here. Like, what does that tell you? That tells you how little MARU has been on the map, how unaggressive he's been. He's had to play a super passive game, and yeah, the best he's doing is keeping his own bases from being taken by the Zerg. Playing out much better here for Serral in game number 2 as he comes in with another ridiculous wave of units. Crypto's being added on, so he can maybe start a fight. Maybe if there's Liberators coming in against the Ultras, obviously he can be good against the Medivacs as well. Keeping everything away. A lot more Lings still coming up. We're going to see the SCVs of MARU going to go top left. Yeah, still flying around just a little bit here, seeing what's going on. The flyer attack upgrade on that Spire. +3 flyer attack about to be done. I mean, or at least getting the top left base up. Maybe he should have made a bid for this base much sooner, because I actually feel like this left side is way easier to hold than this base over here, because this base, Serral can come in off the high ground and kind of cut you off even as you come down this ramp. That can't happen as much over here if you defend this sort of area. I think that's okay to defend. And if you hold it, obviously you do hold the top left, as MARU, I think, is actually going to win this fight. I don't think it's so bad for him. He's going to get some snipes off on the Ultralists. And I think for the first time this game, MARU kind of really wins a fight without anything else happening. Like, I think before he's kind of won fights, he's cleaned up, he's traded better. But he's lost so many SCVs in the process. He's had a base cancelled, or a base killed, or a base, you know, thrown out of position, or he's had his ghost count reset. So he's just, you know what I mean? This is the first time it feels like MARU wins a fight without any negatives attached to it. So maybe this is where it starts to turn around. I mean, to be fair, it's also, what, like 17, 18 minutes of game number 1, where before it really looked as though MARU turned it around. I just don't think the backstory of this game really allows for that, though, this time. But happily, we'll be surprised if MARU can turn this around. He really is a god. I mean, we know MARU is a god. I guess that's the thing. If anyone can turn it around, it's probably MARU, but he's also playing against the best Zerg in the world, one of the best Zergs in the world. I mean, again, we talk about current form, and it's funny because it's kind of one of the reasons this series is funny to happen now. You know, for the first time in, what, like 2 years, Serral is arguably not the best player in the world. He's been knocked off by Reynolds for sure, I think. And yet, now he finally gets to play MARU, who also has not been doing great. He's had an injured shoulder as well, right? That's been a big talking point lately. And now this match happens. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the whole point of what I started off saying with this, though, is obviously they're amazing players still to their own right. And maybe we can't call either of them the best in the world at this specific moment, but they're still pretty darn good. This is just an orbital up here, and just a handful of Lings will start to ravage. But oh my god, MARU gets to see one of the bases. MARU's not seen a Zerg hatchery on the Zerg side of the map for like 10 minutes, so I mean, that's some progress on the right side. He does get this right base up as well. He's just worried it's always just orbitals, because he's running out. He just doesn't have extra command centers building to replace these locations with, so he's just floating orbitals around. And I mean, he gets the right side, but at what cost? The top left not mining now? He just needs more than... The point has gone where one extra base saves him, basically, right? He needs 2 extra bases, realistically, which is why I kind of like the top left as well, because I feel like then you can maybe get this base, and maybe you just fight that top left, and then eventually you take the right side much later in the game, that one base, and defend that much later on. But yeah, it didn't work out right, and now Serral comes crashing through. Another huge fight. Corruptors in the sky doing their job, just picking off medevac after medevac, and again, it's the Terran army that kind of wins out, right? It's the Terran army that's left standing, but look at the reproduction. Serral will have to rebuild a little bit of supply. He's actually lost so many overseas that he gets supply blocked. And MARU might find his way down the right side, but it's 40 SCVs to 83 drones. We are starting to get to that point where it's 13,000 resources lost. It becomes a bit scarier. But again, it's without MARU being on the right amount of bases to make this work. This time he doesn't have the backbone to stay in a game like this. Or does he? Can he somehow salvage it together? He needs to hold off this fight right now. He's going to cloak up the ghost, realizing that there's nothing to detect right now. These Banes are going to get taken down. Good snipes. Getting a lot of kills. MARU finding some insane value at the end here. Opening up a 16k resource difference. If MARU can just keep mining the right side, maybe somehow mine the top left. If that can happen, he's got to make a play to the left. He can't let Serral mine this base. So that means his right side base is exposed, and that's the issue. There's just not the... It's just nothing syncing up for MARU. You know, he can't... He just doesn't have the army to split into 2 parts either, which is one of the things I guess did very well in that last game. I love how this series is playing out, though, because I really feel it's got some really cool comparisons, you know, to, you know, a really cool contrast from game 1 to game 2. The things that went, you know, it's easy to see what went differently, for example. It's been really cool. A lot of SCV is going to go top left, and Marauders will get the Zergling. Upload goes down. We do see a few SCVs just being picked away at. Coming back along, it's going to get a sense to... I mean, man, these Lings are just shredding structures. I mean, MARU, to be fair, what is there to mine from here? May as well just completely relocate to the top left-hand side, try and push this side. deny this base, take the top left, maybe take the other top left as well, but yeah, Serral is just making progress. I mean, Serral can maybe mine that right side base now if Maru's going to take a step back away from it. And I mean, SCV is going to get shredded by Lings once again. The problem being just orbital commands in position every time, because he doesn't have fresh command centers to move elsewhere. He's needed these orbital commands to help stay in the game with scans and the mules. And now there is only options when it comes to taking new bases, but it comes at a cost. There's a reason you got to make planetary fortresses. Maru is going to type out the GG, and Serral is going to take a game number 2. I actually do feel like the start of this game was great for Maru. You know what? I did say I was going to check if he didn't start those upgrades, because I really feel like something fell apart earlier in this game, because I feel like 9 drones killed is something Maru should be able to capitalize on, and at first I thought maybe it's the map and stuff. Right, look at this. His engineering base is done. Let's just see when his engineering base finished exactly, just to get an idea. And then we'll jump into game number 3. It's obviously tied up 1-1 here. I just really feel like something must have been off for the upgrades. I'm not sure if he missed the engineering base, if he just... Okay, his engineering base just started at 4:45. So at 4:45 they start. So they're going to be done by the time we get to 5:28. Oh my god, they were not doing anything for so long. And I think the problem is, like, he gets them so early. I think it's not even... I mean, he's got the gas to start it as well. So it's talking about, like, 5:15-ish, the engineering bays were done. I also felt like combat shield was late, but maybe that wasn't quite as serious. Oh my god, he's building the armory to go 2-2, and he doesn't even have 1-1 started. Yes, okay. That's so bad. You can see the Zerg is so late on his own evos. Like, there's meant to be a massive Terra and upgrade lead here. Finally, this is like 2 minutes after the engineering base started, 1-1 starts. That's like a 1.5-minute delay. I actually genuinely believe he was ready to go 2-2, and he instead went 1-1. Oh my god, like, he's meant to start 2-2. You can see, like, these Evo turns, he's meant to be on an upgrade lead. I don't know how much that means, but it may make the difference in a fight like this. Imagine you have 1-1 here. He also forgot combat shield as well, by the way. Like, combat shield is still not started. Imagine you have... I don't know if combat shield would be ready for this, but imagine you have combat shield and 1-1 right now. Like, this fight actually goes pretty close. Maru's up in army supply, and if you win this fight... I mean, I don't think this is obviously going well for you, but you never know what those upgrade differences can make. Then maybe you get the bottom right, and this game spirals in a completely different way. Yeah, I mean, we still haven't even started combat shield at this point. Okay, well, that's honestly really an unforced error for Maru. He absolutely could have started those upgrades earlier, and I think he was absolutely meant to. Unfortunately, he did not. GG's, and that's going to be us tied up 1 apiece, going to game number 3. Alright, a final map here between Maru and Serral, and it has been a really cool series so far. Long games. I wouldn't say game... I feel like game 1 was really cool. Game 2, I do kind of feel Serral had won for quite a while, and we were kind of watching Maru die and try and survive. But what made game 2 cool was the fact that we kind of saw him do it in the first game. So it was, we were able to see that back and forth in comparison, and maybe I'm harping on a lot about it, but I really did enjoy that. Maru starts off in the bottom right-hand side. He's our blue Terran player, of course, taking on the red Zerg in the top left-hand side, Serral. Again, this is the King of Battles $30,000 Kubo International Championship. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in today, guys, to this little video. Again, this is a YouTube exclusive. I'm sure this is going to hit a lot of people, or has the potential. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. It has the potential to hit a lot of people, so if you're watching this for the first time, you're new, again, hi. I cast a lot of my own events on the channel. I cast a lot of other events on the channel. I live stream on Twitch if you want to check it out. If you're enjoying this casting right now, I do this every single day here on YouTube and pretty much every single day on Twitch, so hit that subscribe button, check out the socials, and go follow along. And again, I don't want to delve too far off the beaten path. I think this is a series where we really do just want to talk about the StarCraft, but I just want to say thanks so much for the support. I think this video might get us above 30,000 YouTube subs. We're like 200 away, 250 away at the time of upload. When this uploads, we should be around there, so that'd be really awesome if we could hit that. But that's all I'm going to say, because I really do want to talk about these games and also give you guys a little bit of a look on the map, because I'm very aware that this is a new map pool, and you might not have seen many games, at least on Lightshade, if any at all, depending on how much StarCraft you've been watching lately. This map is a very kind of standard go-to macro. I don't think this one, like Jagannatha, is very... I do feel like Jagannatha has that Zerg edge to it because of that, like, bottom set of expansions. You don't go toward the Terran player at all and so on. This map's not really true like that. This map's very similar to, if you remember, Acropolis. It's got a very similar base layout. Base number 1, 2, 3, or 3. And then you've got these two bases here, one in front of the other down the left side. I think Acropolis had like an extra base like here pointing outward or so. It had a bit of a different middle of the map where basically this entire area was raised and then it was like around the edges were not raised. But yeah, I mean, the base layout is very similar to Acropolis, and that was a great map for long macro games that Serral will not get his drone denied. He will get the third hatchery down, no problem. The one thing I've seen and noticed on this map previously is this kind of high ground area. So say as I mean, already Serral's taken this third base here. If you can get up here like a couple of siege tanks to siege up this position and hold this area, and then you obviously play around this sort of area here, down this ramp and along and so on, I feel like that can do so much for you. Like, I feel like that position is like the, you know, hearts popping out of the eyes as the Terran player. Like, oh my god, I can just trade like a monster. As MARU goes 3cc for the third game in a row off one gas. I do look at this and I don't want to criticize. I just feel like this is very kind of... He has changed the build-up after this, but this is very weak to obviously if you just keep doing this. Maybe in a best of 3, it's not long enough for Serral to realize it. You know, it's match point now. He doesn't want to put on an all-in, but I feel like if this was a best of 5 and Serral's like, you know what, you just keep going, one gas expand, I feel like Serral would have roach attacked him by now. You know, maybe in this game. And then it scares MARU from doing this build again in the future games. In a best of 3, he's kind of gotten away with it. And in this best of 3, he's obviously gotten away with it. So he's going to get away with it once more, but I do feel like... I don't know if it's MARU just... I don't want to say he's being lazy with the builds, but... And I want to say it's punishable, but then it hasn't been punished, right? So that's why I don't want to criticize, but it has been very much so the same thing. What I do love is it's been different builds on the follow-up every time. Again, a low Hellion count build order this time around, just 4 Hellions, this time completely bypassing the starport. This is potentially the greediest MARU has been, because he would be in so much trouble against a roachling attack right now. What's he going to have? Like, the problem is these barracks don't come online in time to give you, like... They're going to give you like 4 Marines against a roach attack, and that's just not going to change anything. Whereas a starport would give you a Banshee, and that is a game changer in that kind of scenario. Again, these are all hypotheticals, because right now that just does not matter. Yeah. And you see this Marine nibbling away at this OV. The few Hellions and the Reaper hanging out on this bottom side. An orbital command coming through. I'm just going to be seeing MARU floating this out into the middle of the map here. So orbital command moving out into the center. We do have a starport also dropping down for MARU, so getting that up and running. There's a plenty full number of Marines are in production. And our Hellions all setting up in the center of the map here. A lot of drones coming up into play. The lair on the way through. Extractor going to finish on the natural expansion. A couple of these creep teamers get taken down pretty much immediately. So creep teamers down nice and quickly. MARU going to move around the right-hand side. The third CC is up and running. Plenty of Marines again rallying out the front to supply people to drop down as well. Just completing this wall off. I mean, this first attack from MARU is going to be a lot of fun, right? 1-1 upgrades. It's going to have the Bioforce really kind of kicking along. The only thing is you got to get those medevacs out. And that's what he's going to work on now. So we got to make sure Serral doesn't get over-aggressive here. I kind of like what Serral's doing with the base expansion. It's not to me what I expect. I'd expect the 4th base on this side, but I think what Serral is saying is that, and maybe this is the way that this map plays out, and again, I don't know it too well yet, but compared to Acropolis, I think maybe it's easier to push this direction as the Terran. You can go along here, you get this area, which is quite nice, then you only have to go down and up a ramp, and you're on top of the 4th base in this scenario if you go 3rd base, 4th base. So maybe that's why Serral is choosing this upwards kind of expansion pattern, which wasn't very common on the map I'm comparing it to, and that might just be the way that the pathing in the middle of the map works out. This base is obviously quite far back from a Terran. If the Terran had expanded here, though, I mean, if MARU takes this 3rd base, then running up this direction, you know, then you kind of feel like, oh, well, actually, how do you ever stop that as Serral? Well, actually, then I really don't know. Yeah, so maybe it's also partly just Serral playing to where MARU took that 3rd base and kind of responding to that as well. Again, it's a little bit of a shame because unlike the previous map pool's been around so long, we know so much about all the maps. These maps are still very fresh. They're still being figured out. A lot of expansion patterns. We don't know what the norm is or what the meta is yet. So a lot of this is still kind of just theorizing. As you do see this first push off, MARU doing pretty well. He wants to get rid of some of these Banes. He takes a big Bane connection on the Marines though, and that is unfortunate. That's going to push him back along this right-hand side. Oh, that is a real shame. That's very, very unfortunate, in fact. He didn't lose those Marines. Who knows what could happen with continued pressure. He's now got 1-1 against 0-0, so you know, this would be a better continuation. He gets the queen here, has to lift up and back away. Serral's going to play the Hydralisk, so he's going to move away from the Mutalisks. And I can appreciate that. We'll see if he also wants to play into the Lurkers beyond the Hydras. Very likely with how Terrans or how Zergs have been playing against Terran as of late. But I think the other thing to look at here is that this has been a... You know, this has also been a style in the past where you do just play Lingbane Hydra and you stick on Lingbane Hydra for a long time. It's very sturdy. It's funny because it's like... I have to make this comparison a lot because someone called me out for it last time, but I like to say Lingbane Hydra is very sturdy, and obviously Hydras are pretty fragile units, but it's much more sturdy when it comes to a fight because the Hydras sit in a backline of like tons of Lingbane, and in that regard it's much sturdier than Lingbane Muta, which doesn't have that backbone of Hydras dishing out damage, but instead it's kind of chipping around the edges, right? So the Lingbane Hydra can take straight up standard fights a little bit more easily. You're not reliant on dealing as much harassment because obviously you don't have tools to harass as much, but you still have that Lingbane potential to hit run-bys, etc. So I kind of like Serral changing it up. It does change how you want to play as MARU, and he is respecting it. He's already making a siege tank while also getting drilling claws. It'll be interesting to see where he sits at the end of all of this in terms of tank count and also mine count. Because generally against Lingbane Hydra you can get away. One of the weaknesses of siege tanks is against Lingbane Muta is the mutas, right? They're really... Tanks are very immobile. You know, they don't get punished as much by Lingbane Hydra, and they're really good, very sturdy against the Hydra count, and obviously being able to fight them from a distance is great, but... Yeah, right now we've seen a bit of everything. The Widow Mines are still great for the Lingbane, and obviously great for the mobility. So we will see where MARU sells. Right now he's building a bit of both, and usually that's not what you see. The reason for not going both is it's very hard to control. You've got to burrow Widow Mines and tanks ahead of every fight. Like, that's a lot of control. You know, that's a lot to be, you know, trying to get done. And, you know, we don't see it done very often. He is switching into double siege tank production. He's actually on 3 factories, though. So maybe we'll still see some more Widow Mines. 3 factories is very off-meta as well. Definitely not something you see every day in ZVT. You know, every now and then you see in TVP, triple factory tank production. They go absolutely bonkers on the tank count. And, you know, the Protoss player hates their life because it's such a frustrating style to play against. Yeah, he's going to keep building mines and tanks. So MARU really going for the very flashy style here, the very flashy composition. I like it. I can get behind it. Widow Mine's going to burrow up. Some of these creep tumors continuing to go down as he pushes up the left-hand side. We see a lot of creep. Continue to go down. Widow Mines get split away from, so nothing major there. It might be that the tanks have a... Where the tanks are now, he might just want to leave the tanks at home to deal with larger pushes. And mostly work with kind of like biomine out on the map, and then eventually if he gets a larger push of his own going that, you know, where it's really committed, maybe then the tanks get brought along with it as Serral gets up to a 5th base, taking this left side of the map as well. The hive is about to complete here, so you can go straight into 3-3, adrenal glands, ultralisk cavern. That's all available to Serral. He's not being slowed down from hitting that hive tech. He will lose the 6th base in the bottom left, but it's a fresh base. Not a big issue. He sees the 2 tanks and he doesn't know what's there with it, right? You don't know if there's bio with it, etc. You don't have that vision, so you have to back away. You can't just go fighting into it for sure. As Widow Mines get pretty decent shots. But once Serral didn't make much of a split away at all. A couple of Vipers coming through and the adrenal glands continue to build in that main. So it will continue to come up as Lingbane Hydra comes out to the right-hand side. You've got a hatchery dropping down in the bottom left, and a little bit of army just going to come through as cancel on the hatchery. So the hatchery will cancel up as that Ghost Academy comes in on the main base. Now we're going to go back around. Out through the south. Just backing away again. He's playing with these 2 different armies. Small armies. I mean, you could maybe call this a drop more so than an army, but he's still just playing these 2 different directions, trying to move around a little bit. And... yeah, I mean, I guess just take bases. 4 bases coming up. He's already ready to go up to base number 5. Again, MARU is just very accepting of a long game here. He's very happy to just say, yeah, you know what, let's party, let's go for this, let's do this. And yeah, I really like that. I love it, actually. I think this is really entertaining. It really gives us fun games, right? It gives us those nice long games back and forth. Hopefully MARU doesn't get kind of as stuck as he did last time. The Vipers show up. What a time for the Vipers to show up. I mean, hitting a couple of great planning clouds on the siege tanks, a parasitic bomb on the medevac that MARU handled very well. At the same time, fighting over here and does okay, falling back to a siege tank for some extra aid. And yeah, MARU's still trading well so far. Resources lost, 3k in his favor. I feel like me and the resources lost tab have been best buddies in this series, but it really is such a good way of tracking how the TvZ is going. You know, you keep an eye on that income graph, you keep an eye on the resources lost, and you get a good idea of if the Terran is playing a sustainable game or not. And of course, sustainability is one of the big things of Terran versus Zerg. Is fire coming around, a few Banes being picked off, a Widow Mine is not gonna... Okay, connect on a few Zerglings there toward the end. Another Widow Mine going off, more of these Lings going down. Kind of moved commands in there, but it wasn't the biggest chunk of bio units. The problem is this base on the bottom side is likely to fall, so there goes Maru's fourth base. Now he is mining the right side, he's got a base here as well. This is a very holdable side of the map for Maru, because this base kind of naturally defends itself a lot of the time because it's very choked up. So if you can continue to defend the bottom left, I do like his chances of getting into that long game with a lot of bases. The ghosts are coming up for the first time in this game. Right now he's maybe getting a little bit overwhelmed by this Lingbane Hydra Force, though. He's not able to settle this down and stop it from hitting him. I think the third base should hold. So it did get a little bit scary there. This momentum kind of carries Serral through quite a bit, and he gets a few SCVs on top of what he had earlier, so I think Serral will be okay with that. Of course, Serral is once again up to 3, 4, 5, 6 bases, just, I want to say, unhindered. But Maru has been forcing some good fights on either side. He's been, you know, forcing some trade outs and making this an interesting setup, making this an interesting battle already. An extra group of Banelings morphing in from Serral out on the bottom side. Going to rally together with Lingbane Hydra, and well, here we go, the bio. And he's going to pull back a little bit. These couple of Widow Mines are going to burrow up. Parasite bombs off on the medevac scene, and we do have the tanks firing away. The Banes continue to roll on up this ramp. They are going to go down. The Ultralisk down here hanging on. Now the third base gets pushed back from Maru, and this is where it gets a little bit worse. This is why I was worried that he was continuing to be pushed back on this bottom side, because I don't feel like he should have had trouble at least holding the third base, but now he's losing SCVs. Now he doesn't have this deeper wall that he had before, and maybe now this opens this top side up, and this feels like Serral's getting the aggression in his favor. This feels like Serral is starting to take full control. The Ultras are about to pop as well. I mean, he's very well prepared for Ultras. He's got a good amount of ghosts. I gotta, again, really commend Maru on the tank position. I love this tank. Like, this just tucked away in a corner. Helps defend anything coming from over here very nicely. I love these tanks on this high ground. I love the tanks. It makes a lot of sense as to why he prioritized them a lot in the earlier stages. The position of them is just really amazing to get so much out of them, I think. I really feel like this tank position has so much potential. It's really cool to see as Lingbane Ultra gonna run down the right. At the same time, Ling's running over here. It's just an orbital, and there's no units over there, so the SCV count is plummeting. 11 workers, 12 workers dead already, and that's still rising up. Forces the lift off the third base again. And now Maru is essentially trying to fight to mine off 4 bases, with this top right base wanting to come down, having to try and relocate this one yet again. This is what Serral has done such a good job of recently. It's really just been, again, that income advantage spiking in his favor, and I get the feeling it's going to keep on spiking higher and higher. You know, it used to be like here, and it was like here, and now it's like here, and it's going higher again because he's denying these bases, and that's the sign of a Zerg taking control of this game. That's the sign that Maru is not doing what he needs to, and well, the tank positions can be as good as they want, but obviously if the Vipers just get to fly up for free and get some abducts off, tank positions don't mean much. Viking count, non-existent. They really could do with being a little bit existent. Again, we're 15, 60 minutes deep, and it's a 2k resource loss difference. And again, at this stage, for the mining amount difference, I think you really want a bit of a larger gap there, as Maru. You want this to be a little bit more different than it already is, for sure. Lingbane Ultra going down the right side. Gonna drop a Blinding Cloud onto the siege tank already. Planetary Fortress will go down. A couple of snipes can line up, and all these Banelings get taken down pretty quickly too. The Ultras will fall. The Ultras on the left side are going to go running straight in as a couple of siege tanks of Maru. They're going to set up as well. Try and defend from a distance. I mean, what you really need is the Ghosts, though. The Ghost Snipes are what eliminate these Ultralisks very easily and very convincingly. So I feel like that's what we need to be continuing to watch out for at the moment, is Lingbane Hydra will gather itself up. I just threw up a little bit. 52 Banelings just morphed in front of me. It's not something you see every day, but well, I don't want to be a pessimist yet, because I look at Maru's army supply and I say, you know what, he can take a couple good fights maybe. If he takes a couple good fights, he maybe gets this top right base up again. If he does that, that's great. Problem is, Serral is already taking the bottom side of the map. And if you can mine that base, that's 8 bases for Serral. Maru would have 6. Well, he's going to have to take some amazing continued engagements for the rest of this game. And it has to basically start, like, right now. Yeah, and even this base, even if you're not losing SCVs, even if you're not losing the base, even just being denied the mine for that little while, those 10 seconds it takes to reset, that's costly. The Ghosts make a step forward, and now they get saved. I like that. Saved by the Medivacs. And running from this top side as well. Very interesting. Serral just really phased out the Hydras in this game. He's got a few of them, but he's not really built into like a high amount. He really just focused on Lingbane Ultra in the later stages. Really just used those Hydras as a catalyst into the later stages, helped him to feel safe getting into the later points as the natural orbital gets blown up. 13 SCVs along with it. It's another blow for Maru. It's more cost that he can't really afford. Maru needs to call up the bank and get a loan right now because he is absolutely strapped for cash. He has nothing left. He's mining a little bit on this right side. The third can barely mine for more than a minute at a time. Maybe he can hold this top right-hand base. I mean, this is the kind of base that should be holdable against the Zerg. Choke point in from the north side. You've got to come through here. I mean, it's just so limited how many ways you can attack from. The problem is Serral's making this base easy to attack and deny by hitting the bottom side. He's throwing these units out of position again and again. And he makes that top right side a much easier, a much more realistic target. Widow Mines will get themselves burrowed up. A bunch of Banes are going to morph. A couple of things are going to split in different directions. And we already have the Lingbane Ultra, the Hydras as well, coming through. Ultras gets taken down. Now you've got the Zerglings going to come through. The Cloak comes in on the Ghost, but the Overseer shows up. And oh, he's just going to lose all these Ghosts to Lings. Nice kill on the Overseer. Good target fight. I mean, you have to do that. Otherwise, you're going to lose the Ghost. If you lose the Ghost, I mean, this game may as well be done anyway. The Hydras, the Banes, the Ultra continue to come through as Maru's going to try and retake this base yet again. The SCV's already going. The Commander is currently burning off to the side. I think this is Serral showing a very dominating ZVT. The only thing I wonder about is Maru just... he didn't play non-aggressively. Like, he did play aggressively early. There was just a point at which he switched off the aggression. He basically said, oh, yeah, I mean, I feel like there was just some stage where he's just like, right, I just can't attack anymore. Like, I just have to stop. I just have to slow it down. And right now, Serral comes in from every different direction. This game's going to end because there just ain't anything left for Maru. He is not going to hold this base even, I don't think. Maybe he does, but with a lot of losses. No, he's just going to tap out. GG is called. I don't think I have anything to rewind back to in this game. I think it was this first fight up on the top side. Could have done that bit better, and then he let the Banelings connect, and that's why he really cut off the aggression. At that point, he just said, yep, right, that's it. We're done here. We're going to stop. That's it for now. GG's. That is it, guys. It's the series we waited years for. Serral versus Maru. I mean, it was great. It was fun. It was great. I feel like it was a bit more one-sided to Serral than it looked. You know, because it felt like Maru kind of hung in there and did pretty good. And he, like, made a series of it, but then... And the games were long, but was Serral just controlling this the entire way through? In Game 2, for sure. Game 3, I'm not so certain about. I think there was definitely a point where it becomes very Serral-focused. Fun series nonetheless, guys. An amazing setup. I really hope you enjoyed the cast today, of course. A video every day on the channel. Don't forget to like and sub if you didn't already. Thanks so much for watching. Love you all. Have a great rest of your day. More awesome StarCraft in the days to come. Thanks so much for watching this awesome series. And again, take care of yourselves out there. Thanks so much for watching WardiTV.